One day, I got a call saying my husband had been in an accident. The shocking part wasn't just the accident, it was that he had been with his mistress, and she hadn't survived. My husband, on the other hand, was now paralyzed from the waist down. After the accident, he began demanding that I take care of him for the rest of his life. I couldn't believe it. Was I really supposed to spend my life looking after a man who had been unfaithful to me? My name is Mandy, I'm 32 years old, and I live with my husband Ray and our almost 5-year-old daughter, Lily. I'd taken a break from work when I was pregnant with Lily, but I returned to my job once she started daycare. Between work and raising a child, I stay busy, but my life feels full, mostly thanks to Ray. Ray has always been a hardworking husband and father. He takes good care of Lily and supports us well. Our daily routine was simple but special. We'd have dinner together, and Ray would listen to Lily tell stories from her day once he got home from work. "Daddy, look, I drew a picture at daycare today," Lily would say. "Oh, did you? You're so good at drawing. Lily, maybe you can draw a picture of me next time." "Okay," and Mary told me her family went to the amusement park. "Can we go too?" "Sure, how about we all go next weekend?" "Really? Yay, I love you, Daddy." "I love you too, Lily, though I love your mom first," Ray would say with a wink. Lily would pretend to pout, and we'd all laugh. These everyday moments with my family were my greatest joy. But then Ray began to change. He started coming home late and leaving early on his days off. At first, I thought he was just busy with work, but it happened so often that I got worried. So, I decided to ask him about it. "Ray, you've been coming home late a lot. Is everything okay at work?" I asked. "Oh, yeah," he replied. "I've just been busy with some new projects." "I see," I said, "but you've also been leaving early on your days off, and you never tell me where you're going." Well, I've been visiting my parents," he said. "I thought I should check on them from time to time." Ray's parents aren't very young, but we usually see them every few months, and they're doing fine, so this didn't quite add up. So why all these sudden visits to his parents? I was suspicious, but didn't want to push him too hard, so I let it go. 2 weeks later, Ray texted me again, saying he'd be late because he had overtime. This time, he didn't get home until after midnight. When he arrived, he seemed cheerful, but I immediately noticed something odd. "Ray, where have you been?" I asked. "I told you, I had to work late," he replied. "But what about that smell? It's a woman's perfume. Why would you smell like that if you were at work?" I said. Ray's eyes darted around nervously. He seemed flustered and then quickly responded, Actually, we had a client event today." "A client event?" I asked, doubtful. He nodded quickly, adding, "One of the VIP clients is a woman. We were drinking together, and her perfume must have rubbed off on me." "Then why did you lie about working overtime?" I questioned. "You could have just told me about the event." Ray clasped his hands and said, "I felt guilty. You're working hard at home with Lily and everything. I didn't want you to worry." I couldn't press him further, so I let it go and went to bed. But after that, every time he came home late, I could smell the same perfume on him. Each time I asked, he'd say it was just another client event. This only made me more suspicious. One day, feeling like something was really wrong, I left Lily with my parents and met up with my younger sister to talk about it. As soon as we sat down at a cafe, I told her everything. "Ray has been coming home late a lot lately, and he always smells like a woman's perfume," I said. My sister looked serious and replied, "Yeah, he's definitely cheating." Hearing it from someone else made me believe it even more, so Ray was really cheating on me. Plus, she added, it's weird to have client events with the same person so often, and he'd have to be pretty close for her perfume to stick to him. "I know it's hard with Lily and everything," my sister said, "but I think you really need to have a serious talk with Ray." Just then, her tone changed. "Hey, look over there," she said, sounding disturbed. "What's going on?" I asked. "Speak of the devil, isn't that your husband?" she said, pointing. I followed her gaze and saw Ray. Beside him was a young woman, younger than me, holding his arm tightly. The sight was so painful I was speechless. Ignoring my shock, my sister began taking photos of them with her phone. "What are you doing?" I asked, still stunned. "Don't just stand there," she replied. "We need to gather evidence. Start recording a video." Shaking, I opened the camera on my phone. Ray and the woman got into his car, still holding on to each other and kissing multiple times. I recorded everything. When they finally drove off, I stopped filming. Here I was, Ray's wife, now holding proof of his betrayal. I suddenly realized we were still in the cafe, and tears began streaming down my face. My sister stayed quiet for a moment before squeezing my hand and speaking firmly. I know this is incredibly painful, she said, but you need to talk to him, for Lily's sake too. Can we just let this man, who lies so easily and cheats, be her father? Her words snapped me back to reality. That's right, I'm the only one who can protect Lily. Ray might be her father, but he's lost the right to be a real dad. I needed to confront him about what he'd done, sooner rather than later. After talking it over with my sister, we decided that Lily would stay at our parents' house for the day. I went home to wait for Ray, but he didn't come back, no matter how long I waited. Then, around 10 p.m., our rarely used landline phone rang. Who could be calling at this hour? When I picked up, a man's voice said, "Is this Mrs. Johnson's residence?" "Yes, it is. Who am I speaking with?" I replied. "This is the police. Is this Mr. Ray Johnson's residence?" "Yes, it is. Did my husband do something wrong?" I asked, nervous. "Please stay calm," the officer said. "Your husband has been in an accident." "What?" I gasped. The police explained that Ray had been in a car accident. A woman in the passenger seat, his mistress, hadn't survived. Ray, meanwhile, had been taken to a nearby hospital. Without thinking, I rushed straight to the hospital. When I arrived, Ray was in surgery. A police officer explained the situation. "From what we've learned, it seems your husband and the woman had been in a close relationship." "Yes, I suspected it. I was actually going to confront him about his affair today," I replied. The officer added hesitantly, "It's difficult to say, but because of the accident, there's a chance your husband may be left with a permanent disability." I felt overwhelmed. In further conversations with the police, I found out that Ray's mistress had also been married. Her husband, who'd also come to the hospital, looked devastated, especially since Ray had survived and she hadn't. A few days later, Ray regained consciousness. I went to the hospital with my parents, my sister, and Lily. I left Lily with my sister while my parents and I entered Ray's room. When we arrived, his parents were already there. Ray had been left paralyzed on one side of his body due to the accident. Ray looked at us and said, "I'm sorry. I know I've caused you all a lot of worry." Before I could say anything, his parents rushed to his side. "What are you apologizing for?" his dad said. "We're just glad you're alive. Surviving is a blessing." "Yes, Ray," his mom added. "You've always been a good man, that's why you survived." "Thank you, Dad, Mom," Ray said quietly. "I'm grateful I made it." My husband and in-laws were acting like his affair didn't exist. As they celebrated his survival, my worry turned into anger, and I finally spoke up. "Sorry to interrupt your celebration, but Ray, will you divorce me?" "What? Divorce? What are you talking about?" he asked, shocked. "Ray, you got into an accident with your mistress," I replied. "Here are the divorce papers. Just sign them." No, you've got it all wrong," he stammered. "The woman in the car was just a business associate, not a mistress." He was lying, and it was obvious. I decided to tell him everything I knew. "Are you really going to pretend you didn't cheat, Ray? I saw you with her. I watched you two get into the car together," I said firmly. "And no, it wasn't like that," he tried to argue. "Don't make excuses," I snapped, forgetting we were in a hospital room. "You even spent less time with Lily, just to run around with her. What were you thinking?" At this, my mother-in-law frowned and interrupted, "Mandy, what are you so angry about? If Ray cheated, it's probably because you did something wrong." "What are you saying?" I asked, shocked. "Ray just woke up and is dealing with a lot. The doctors told you he's paralyzed on one side," she continued. "He needs your full care now. Instead of talking about divorce, you should start learning how to be his caregiver." Ray added, "She's right. As my wife, you'll be taking care of me from now on." At that moment, any sympathy I had for him disappeared completely. At first, I'd felt sorry for him despite everything he'd done, but now I couldn't care less. They felt no remorse for what they'd put me through, only for themselves. Holding back my anger, I looked at my mother-in-law and said, "Are you serious? Who on earth would want to take care of a cheating fool like him, idiot? Mandy, how dare you insult my Ray, my mother-in-law exclaimed. Well, it's the truth, isn't it? I replied. He cheated, and he caused an accident. Isn't everything that's happened his fault? But even if he was at fault in the accident, cheating happens because of the other person, she insisted. So you're saying that if I did something wrong, he was allowed to cheat? I was balancing work, taking care of Lily, and handling everything at home for our family. And you still blame me while defending your son? My firm tone made her go quiet. Ray, unable to take it, yelled, "How dare you talk to my mom like that?" He glared at me, as if being injured made him somehow superior. I walked up to him, looking down at him intensely. He muttered, "What the," in a nervous voice. "Who do you think is responsible for all this?" I demanded. Well, this mess is because you betrayed our family by cheating, I said sharply. You even got into an accident with your mistress. Do you realize how foolish that is? The only reason this is all messy is because you suddenly want a divorce, he shot back, still refusing to take responsibility. Feeling disgusted, I finally lashed out, "Grow up, Ray. How long are you going to keep blaming everyone else? You're the one who cheated, and on top of that, your mistress died in the accident. Stop justifying yourself, Mandy." He stammered. You've destroyed our family with your selfish affair. I don't know how much pain you've caused Lily. You've not only hurt me, but you've broken our daughter's heart. There's no way I could stay married to someone like you. Just live with your consequences. As I turned away, Ray looked shocked and speechless, his face pale. Then, the door opened, and Lily walked in. Lily? How did? Sorry, sis, said my sister, following behind. I took my eyes off her for a second. Seeing Lily, Ray immediately tried to get her on his side. Lily, he said, you wouldn't want Daddy and Mommy to be apart, right? Lily looked thoughtful, then said, if Mommy's here, I'm fine. Ray looked stunned. What? Why? Because Mommy looks sad when she's with Daddy. And that's because Daddy does things that Mommy hates, right? She asked. Well, I don't like it when Daddy makes Mommy sad, Lily said. I don't need a daddy who does that. I'm fine with just Mommy. Ray was taken aback, completely stunned by Lily's words. With nothing more to say, Ray lay back on the bed, shoulders slumped. When I handed him the divorce papers again, he finally gave up and signed them. After that, I hired a lawyer to pursue alimony and child support, backed by the evidence of his affair. Ray also had to pay damages to the husband of his late mistress, which added to the large sum he owed. Since his mistress had been a junior employee at his company, his infidelity was exposed, and he ended up getting fired. Losing both his job and his reputation, and being responsible for another person's death, was a heavy consequence, but it felt like justice. The combined financial hits drained Ray's savings, and he ended up selling our house and moving into a small apartment with his parents. Now, his in-laws care for their wheelchair-bound son every day. As for me, I decided to stay with my parents for a while, with Lily, to give us time to recover. Once things have settled, I plan to live on my own with Lily again, but for now, being surrounded by family feels better for her well-being. One day, on our way to daycare, I asked her something that had been on my mind. Hey, Lily, are you really okay? I asked gently. Okay with what? She replied, looking up at me. With it just being us. Without Daddy around. Lily gave me a bright smile and said, I love Mommy the most. I don't like anyone who makes Mommy sad. Hearing this, I smiled back. I see. Mommy loves you too, Lily. Lily wrapped her arms around me with all her little might, and as I hugged her back, I promised myself I would protect her and be there for her always.